but he said unto them, how many loaves do you have? And they said, 5 and 2 fish. 5 loaves and 2 fish. When you read the rendition of John, I've always had a question. Because when you read the rendition of John, John says they said there is a lad with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. It was a boy's lunch. My question was, how can a boy, because I get the opportunity to pack the lunch for my little one, I would never put 5 loaves and 2 fish. So my issue is, even for me, in my scarf tin, I would never put 5 loaves and 2 fish. So my issue was, what type of a boy? But it says it was they even qualify it to say it was a boy's lunch. So I then begin to do some research to say what type. I would just go and Google 5 loaves and 2 fish boys lunch, and so of course I was thinking it's Albany. So that's what I was in my mind. 5 loaves and but the parents though. The parents, why would they do 5? This is what type of. So and I was because obviously I was so curious, and I actually saw when you did research they were saying the 5 loaves that they refer to is crackers. So it's crackers. So there were 5 crackers, and then the 2 fish is those ones that we find in in the pilchards, the sardines, the small ones. Oh, you thought it was Albany? Oh, you thought? Imagine it had to be qualified. So for me, it says they had 5 loaves and 2 fish. But you see, the lesson is many a times we think what we have is insignificant. We think, no, I'm just 5 loaves and 2 fish. I can't say nothing. I'm not significant compared to the people that the scale of the things that needs to be done. I don't think I can. You see? But Jesus is saying, you have something, right? And then he commanded them to sit down in groups. Do you see what's beginning to happen? He commanded to sit them in what? Like, you're getting it. He commanded them to sit down in what? I mean, this is a miracle that is about to happen. They don't have much. He commands them to. Do you see that it says he what? He what? Question: a commandment, is it optional? It's a what? So when you hear us say life group is a what? They'll be saying no. I mean, when we say the things that we say, we get it from the scriptures. We get it from the what? We just you're wondering, where did Pastor Tate and Pastor P get it a math? We know the scriptures. We know what makes 5 loaves and 2 fish grow. Ask the ones when we started with, ask them where they were in their lives. If they were in life groups, if you take time to ask them how their lives has progressed, has changed. Ask them, the ones who were there when we started, they were in life groups, when we said it's a must. Or you think in the kingdom it's a democracy. It's not an optional. It's not optional. They will tell you, listen, you're going to take this antibiotic, you can't miss it until it finishes. It's not optional, because the doctor knows that if we are consistently administering this panacea, it's going to deal with the issues. Consistency. Do you get what I'm saying? Consistency. You see, disciple, it's synonymous with discipline. That's where the root word, discipline. Disciples are disciplined. They're in a system. So he commanded them, right? And make them sit down in groups on, for me it's an addition. Because I think they're in a desert. I don't know. According to Tate, I'm taking it as a miracle. Because they say they were in a what? In a desert. I've never seen green grass in a desert. I've never seen green grass. I'm sure, maybe I'm just saying, for me it was a bit awkward. Because I'm expecting them to sit on the ground. I'm expecting them to sit on the sand dunes. But it says, as they began to Oh boy. As they began to sit down, as they began to listen to the grace instruction, there was a grace instruction. It says they sat on green. I mean, you see, when the Bible tells you things, it's for you to see. Certain things are caught in the spirit. They are not putting it on green grass for nothing. They are saying, look, have your eyes open. You might have missed it. It's a miracle already to in the desert. Where do you see green grass in the desert? Where do you see it? Right. So it says that and sat down in groups on the green grass. And they sat down in what? Put it which version? Put it in the King James. They sat down in what? Put it in the New King James version. King James, New King James, New King J. Is that term? Put it in NIV. What type of King James do I have? NIV, let's see. Brother Max one. Amplified, let's see, amplified. There's a term that I'm looking. It says that Jesus commanded them to sit down by groups, but in the version that I have, it says in ranks. He uses a military term. It says they sat down. Or is it the following verse? In King James, New King James. Okay. It says this, Jesus commanded them to sit down by groups on the green grass. Let's go to the next verse. In New King James, they sat down in what? In ranks. He brings as a military term. In military, you can't just sit wherever you want, honey. You just don't do your what? It's in ranks, in proper files. There is a leadership structure. Do you see how miracles begin? Because many people will just then look at the feeding, but there was a build up. There was a build up. They sat in groups and they sat in what? In ranks. There is ranking. See. There is what? In the church, there is ranks. There are people who have leadership grace that is flowing. They have a certain grace that is allowing. Don't just say, because we are a church, how can you tell me to something to do? You're not my mother. And even if your mom was here, we will still tell her what to do. Because this is the kingdom. This is not home. At home, if we're at your mom's home, ma'am, we will be on our best behavior because it's her forte. It's her forte. Man, we listen. Because we are people of authority, so we are under authority. We don't have a problem to be under authority. I mean, if I come to your house, I'm under your authority. I don't have a problem. If you say, dude, wash the dishes, I will wash the dishes. I don't have a problem. Because I understand that this is not my space. If you tell me, I do what you need because that's your space. Yes, because you are the person who is there. I can't say, if I go to work, say, but I go to tell my boss, but I'm a pastor, I'm a man of God, so you guys are not humbling. I'll be at the CCMA faster than I think and without a job because there are specific areas. So you see, that's what a disciple does. They sat down. It's not like there were no big people here in this meeting. They were influential people. They were like, but I'm a billionaire, Jesus. But they sat down in groups and they sat down in ranks. And they sat down in ranks in hundreds and in 50s. Do you see? They sat down in groups. So that's how we grew. The issue of life groups is, you're going to laugh when we go to Acts. But still flow with me. You're still with me, right? So they are sitting down in groups, right? In what? In hundreds and 50s. It's orderly. Decently and in what? And in order. Let's go to the next verse. And when Jesus had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to what? I mean, he did not look at them. He did not look at how small they are. He did not look at how small. He looked where? He looked towards heaven. He looked towards, because that's where the real supply is. He looked towards where? Heaven. Where you look determines your source. Because you look at your bank account. Where you look. It has happened to me when I'm seeing, this money is coming out. I'm just swiping. My wife is sending me to swipe like I'm at this guys, this balance. Balance me now. Balance me now. This life, no balance. When because fear starts, are you going to make it the month? Imagine, bruh, how are you going to do with fear? Many things. Many things will be coming in your mind. Like, you see, it's where you look. It's where you what? Where you look. We must look towards heaven. He says he didn't look. He says he took them, but he did not look at them. He took them, but he didn't what? He is focus. He did not focus on them. He looked towards heaven. When he looked towards heaven, he says he blessed. He blessed what? I mean, some of you be like, my salary is not enough. My salary is whatever. Bless. Thank God for where you are. Thank God for what? Multiplication begins in gratitude. This is how you work a miracle. But if you say, it's not enough, you're cursing it. It's Lord, I thank you. I thank you for this salary. I mean, if you have looked at it, even when they've increased, you still see that it's still not enough. Hasn't it happened? Like, I was just talking to my wife, like, from the time I was earning 5,000, I was even telling, I wish I was earning that, little money compared now, because at those days I had money. I had money. But it seems as if I'm earning way more than that, but I'm still like, guys, when will this thing It's perspective. It's always perspective. What you have, God can take that and multiply it. Right? He says he blessed and he broke the loaves. What did he do? He broke the loaves, the 5 loaves. When you say, because they didn't have a word like crackers. Well, think about it. There's no way you can give 5 loaves and 2 fish to a little one. It doesn't make sense. So to say crackers is not an exaggeration. Maybe if you wanted to maybe you can say crackers is extreme. You can say maybe the buns, those small buns, let's say. But even 5 for a small child, it's a lot. So he broke it, right? Do you see? Amen. Oh, God bless media. Media is so, bless media. Amen. So Pastor Tate is in line. Pastor Tate is in line. Yes, sisters, Esther, I deserve a pay increase. So he says he looked up to heaven, blessed and broke the loaves, and gave them to. I want you to look at this. They are so he gave them to who? Talk to me. He's got 5 loaves and he's got 2 fish and he's breaking the bread and he gives them to he gives how many? He gives them, they are sitting in groups of 50s, they are sitting in groups of 100s, and he gave them to the what? Disciples. He gave them to the what? He gave them to the what? You would agree with me that he did not have, when he was breaking, he did not break it 4,000 times. He would not break it 4,000 times so that the disciples can have all of those fragments. He gave it to the disciples. Because he had given them an instruction to say, you what? Not Jesus. He said to the disciples, you feed them. So he broke to divide, because they are 12. He breaks them to divide amongst the 12, and he gives the disciples, right? He gave to the disciples to sit before them, and the 2 fish he divided among them all, the disciples. Let's go to the next verse. So they all ate. So it means that when they were sitting in groups, you read in other versions, it says they would break the bread, and then they would give it to the other people who were in the congregation, and then they would break the bread, and then they would give. This is how, because imagine if they were to try and give everyone coming, it's gonna be we're gonna spend the 2 nights trying to just feed people. So they were breaking bread, and they would give to the next person, and the next person would break the bread, and they would give it to the next person, and the next person would break the bread. That's how it was working. So the miracle actually worked in the hands of the disciples as they broke down the bread. Do you see how miracles work? When people go into life group, when they hear testimonies of others, the breaking of bread, of stories, listening to other testimonies, you're getting some form of wisdom, you're getting impartation, you're getting an encouragement, you're uplifted, something goes off from you, a light bulb moment happens to you, there's a refreshment. That's how the miracle worked. That's how the gospel. You see, for us to hear the gospel today, it started in the book of Acts. And they kept on telling each other, So we are a result of the birthing of the church. But if we don't, that's why Apostle Paul says, how will they hear if no one has been sent? How will they hear? How will people know about Jesus if you and I are not doing our part? He says they all ate and they were filled. Let's go to the next verse. And they took 12 baskets full of fragments and of the what? So do you see that the miracle happened as the disciples took time in the breaking of bread, and there was an overflow. They were all ate. So it's possible to come to a church where you find everyone is a millionaire.